area and perimeter. So on the board you can see it's in a funky font, but it is what it is. Hopefully you can see that. Let's go ahead and write that down. So I'll give you all a couple minutes to write down the definitions of perimeter and area and apothegm. So everyone's writing this down, please. Thank you. Unless you're doing the writing assignment. Hold up. Sorry. Okay, there we go. I'll give you 2 minutes to write. Don't write slow. All right, so if you didn't write it down, it is what it is. All right, we're gonna copy this down. All right, hold on 1 second. Mr. G's gotta take care of this business. Okay, sorry. 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So here we go. Area of a square. So you might have seen it on the last page we were looking at, but if not, we're going to write it down right now. So I hope that you've seen some of these formulas before for area and perimeter. Okay. So area of a square is, and by the way, you know a square has all equal sides. So if this is S, and if I want to find area, I'm going to do side times side. Okay. So side times side, or just side squared. Now technically, the side and the side are length times width. Okay, so you could think of it as length times width. That's fine too, but the length and the width are the same thing. Okay, so it's not wrong to think of it that way. And that is the way you do think of a rectangle that has a length and a width, right? So length times width. All right. Okay. So down here, each quadrilateral is a rectangle. Write the appropriate formula, substitute the values, and then solve. Round the answers to the 3 decimal places. Use the appropriate unit in each answer. Now, real quick, down here we have to do area and perimeter. Let's remember, what is perimeter? What does perimeter mean? Okay, it's the distance around the edge of a figure, right? So we don't need a formula for that. We're just going to add up all 4 sides. All right, so let's do these. So 3.5 is here. This is also 3.5. So my area formula was side squared. So the area should be 3.5 squared. And then we can use our trusty calculators to figure that out. But y'all can help me out. 3.5 squared, what do we get? What? $3.5 squared? What? 10.5? What? 12.25? All right, well, let's find out. Gotta get rid of this junk. Let's do this. All right, 3.5 squared. 12.25. All right, very good. Sorry, that was taking too long. And goodbye. Thank you so much. 12.25. Okay. Now, perimeter, if I got 3.5 on all 4 sides, I'm going to add it up. 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 3.5 plus 3.5. Or you just do 3.5 times 4. Okay, and you should get what? 14. Okay. So again, for the perimeter, I did 3.5 times 4, and I got 14. Okay, so that's all the work that you need to do for that. All right, number 2, what am I going to do? Length times width, right? This is a rectangle. So 3.5 times 1.5. Well, what do we get? What was it? 1.5. All right, 5.25. No big deal, right? Now this time we have units, so 5.25 inches, and anytime you do area, area is squared. So we are going to talk about inches squared, or another way to say it, square inches. Okay? If you're like me one day and you got a house and you start looking at areas of the place you want to live, it's measured in square inches. It's a real thing in the real world, all right? Now, perimeter, again, we're going to add up all 4 sides. We got 3.5 plus 1.5 plus 3.5 plus 1.5. Another way to think about it is 2 times 3.5 plus 1.5 for a rectangle. But again, all you have to do is add up all 4 sides. All right, and we get 10. Now, 10 is not squared in its units. Perimeter, again, is not square units. Perimeter is regular old units. So 10 inches. So 5.25 inches squared, 10 inches not squared. Okay, so those were our formulas for a square and a rectangle. Now, what's weird about number 3? We have no h, and we start with the area. So we're going to think kind of backwards, okay? So let's do that. The formula for the area is, for a rectangle, length times width, right? That's the original formula. So I'm going to plug in what I know. So A is 300 over on this side. L, the length, well, notice how h is the longer one, so h is really the length, okay? So we'll call that h times the width, which is 15. So how do I get rid of that 15 if I'm solving this equation? Divide, right? So I have h right here. I need to get rid of that 15. It's being multiplied, so I have to divide. That's the opposite. It'll cancel it out. And if I do it on one side, I do it on the other side. What is 300 divided by 15? 20. Okay, so my height is going to be 20, and my units are meters. 20 meters. Okay, so I can actually fill that in. I got 20 here, which means I have 20 here. I got 15 up here. So can you add all four sides to get your perimeter? Yes, you can. So P equals 2 times 15 plus 20. That's one way you can do it, or you just add up all four sides. And that gives you what? 70. Now you tell me, is 70 in meters or meters squared? Just meters. The only thing that's squared is area. And it's already on there, right? Right there. Okay, now we go to number 4. This is going to be a little tricky. Okay? On number 4, I got 8 here, so I know I have 8 here. I got Z here, so I got Z here. And it tells me what is 40. Perimeter, not area. So we're going to do this a little different. Okay, so my perimeter, okay, and I guess maybe we could have put that up here for a rectangle. Perimeter is 2 times length plus width. But is what it is. All right, so perimeter is 2 times length plus width, right? So let's plug in what we know. P is 40. Length plus width is 8 plus Z. Make sure your Z looks like a Z and not a 2, okay? So you're thinking 8 plus what times 2 is 40, okay? Now there's an algebraic way to solve this. To get rid of that 2, we divide by 2, which gives us 20 equals 8 plus Z. And then how do I get rid of that loner 8? Subtraction. Minus 8. What's 20 minus 8? 12. So Z is 12 feet. And now that I have a length and a width, I can find the area. So got a little room right here. Area equals length times width. 8 times 12. Now hopefully by looking at this you notice it's not to scale. It doesn't make sense that the shorter one is 12 and the longer one's 8. But it's whatever, okay? Whoever made this, not me, didn't think that through. It is what it is. 8 times 12 is what? 96. 96 what? Feet squared, because we're talking about area, okay? Real talk, legit. All right, go to the next page. So that was squares and rectangles. On the next page, let's talk about some triangles, okay? Now, does anyone know the formula for the area of a triangle, just off the top of their head from the previous years? Is it base times height? Is it not? Let's find out. So, area of a triangle theorem. I'm here to help you. It is 1/2 BH, or you can write it like this, BH over 2. 2 ways to write it, okay? But you're going to multiply the base, which is the bottom side, times h, which is the height. And then you divide it by 2. So notice, your height can be inside. The height can be on the edge if it's a right triangle. Or it can be outside if it's an obtuse triangle, okay? So either way, height is from the highest point straight down, and it makes a right angle, okay? So the area of a triangle theorem is 1/2 BH. So let's do that. On number 5, what's the base on number 5? So the base is 6. Now, is the height 4? Is the height 5? No, the height is straight from the top down, 2. So my base is 6, my height is 2. So for area, I'm going to do 6 times 2 divided by 2. You might be able to do that mentally, because 6 times 2 is 12, and 12 divided by 2 is 6, right? So the area is 6 centimeters squared. What about perimeter? So notice, I have all three sides. When you do perimeter, ignore the height. For perimeter, you're going to use this, this, and this on the outside, not the inside. Three sides, right? So for perimeter, 5 plus 4 plus 6 is 15. 15 centimeters. You're just adding up the sides for perimeter. Okay? On 6. So, what's the base? On the bottom, the base is 11. The height from the highest point straight down is 9. So I got my base, I got my height. All I got to do is base times height divided by 2. So you should get 99 divided by 2. What is that going to give me as a decimal? Remember, you can always do Control Enter. 49.5. And we are talking about some meters. Okay? Perimeter. Now, careful. Do not include the height in your perimeter. Okay? Does everyone see this little tick mark right here? If that tick mark is 11, what's the other tick mark going to be? 11, right? So this should be 11. So my three sides, I'll do it in blue. 15.3, 11, and 11. Forget that 9. We don't need that. It's not a side. It's a height. So for perimeter, 11 plus 11 plus 15.3 gives me what? 37.3. Again, if you're writing, I need it done today, so keep working on that. Don't do these notes, do your writing, okay? So again, when we add up all those sides, we get 37.3 meters, okay? And let me go back in time here and add a little squared, because I don't want to forget that. My bad. Make sure we put them over here too. Let's be consistent. Mr. G, you've been goofing up. All right, here we go. So 37.3 meters. So far so good on triangles. All right, I want you to try number 7. I'll give you a minute. Okay, try number 7. I'll give you like a legit minute. Two, one. All right, so on number 7. Ooh. What did you get for height? Oh my goodness gracious. Can we do this right? Here we go. All right. What did you get for height? 5. I hope that was the easiest thing in the world for you because you see it right there from top straight down. You got 5, right? 5 what? Centimeters. And perimeter, well, remember, you just add up all three sides on the outside, 7 plus 6 plus 8, right? What do we get? 21. Yeah, 21 centimeters. Okay. back to area. So base is 8. Height is 5. So 8 times 5 divided by 2. What do you get? 20 centimeters squared. Okay? All right, now we're going to put a little star on number 8. Our goal is to come back to it. It's a challenging problem. Maybe not for the height. That's easy. Maybe not for the area. You could do that. But the perimeter is a challenge that we have to come back to. Okay? So mainly because of that. But we proceed to the next page. Area of a trapezoid. Okay? So remember, a trapezoid is one of those quadrilaterals that we learned about on the last 2 or 3 days. So our formula for the area of a trapezoid is, there's 2 ways to write it. 1/2 B1 plus B2 times H. Or, again, you can make it one big fraction. B1 plus B2 times H divided by 2. It doesn't really matter. If you type it in, you'll get the right answer, okay? But I want you to notice what B1 is and B2. On a trapezoid, there's always 2 bases that are parallel, and it doesn't matter which one's 1 and 2. It doesn't matter, because you're adding them together. You multiply it by the height. Now, the height is perpendicular. When I say that, I mean it makes a right angle. If it doesn't make a right angle, it's not a height. So this is not a height. This is not a height. Not height. The height is perpendicular. It makes a right angle. Okay? So let's look at this example right here. Area of this trapezoid. So base 1 plus base 2. So my base 1 is 8. My base 2 is 4. 8 plus 4 times the height. Now the height, you can see right here, clearly makes a right angle. That's 6. And then divided by 2. 8 plus 4 in parentheses times 6 divided by 2. Now let's type that in the calculator. Parentheses 8 plus 4 parentheses times 6 divided by 2. You can do it like that. You could have pressed Control Divide and made a big old fraction. I'll show you how it's the same thing, okay? See how it fixed it for me? If you do parentheses 8 plus 4 parentheses times 6, Control Divide, big fraction, over 2, see how it's literally the same thing. So whether you hit Control Divide or just divide, you get the same answer, 36. 36 what? Well, this one doesn't have units, so you know what? It is what it is, 36. Typically you'll have units, and typically you'll put those units squared for area, right? So let's try number 9. Area. So base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Everyone, what is the height of this trapezoid? Raise your hand if you think it's 5. If you raised your hand, take that and bop yourself on the forehead. Okay, because that's wrong. The height is indicated by this, and this is implicitly perpendicular. So the height is 4. The base 1 is 3. The base 2 is 7, right? So let's do that. Area equals base 1 plus base 2 times the height divided by 2. Now you might be able to do this mentally, or you can use a calculator. But I know that 3 plus 7 is 10. 10 times 4 is 40. 40 divided by 2 is 20 centimeters, and it's going to be squared because we're talking about some area. Okay? Now for perimeter, what am I adding for my perimeter? So let's think about this. I got a side of 3, I got a side of 7, a side of 6, and a side of 5. 4 is not a side, 4 is the height. So we're not going to add 4, right? So 3 plus 6 plus 7 plus 5. We should get 21. Am I right? Huh? 21 centimeters? All right. Now I'm going to give you a chance to try 10 and 11. Actually, we'll do 10. I'll let you do 11. Number 10. I got a missing base, but my missing base has 2 tick marks. What else has 2 tick marks? 22. So guess what? 22. And then this bottom base is 37, and my height is 18. So area equals 22 plus 37 times 18 divided by 2. So let's type that in the calculator. 22 plus 37 times 18 divided by 2. 531. 531, 2 apostrophes squared. Okay? Kind of weird? Is what it is. So I want you to try 11. I'll give you a minute or 2. I'll give you a minute and however long it takes me to get this thing over here. All right, everyone's trying number 11, please. Come on. You got this. Two, one. All right. Woo, woo. What did y'all get for 11? What did y'all get on 11? What? 84? Anyone object? Y'all should check that real quick. 84 centimeters squared. Now, what about perimeter? What do y'all think? Did y'all get 43? Yeah? All right, 43 what? Centimeter. Cool. Now, once again, we're going to put a star on this. This is a challenge because we have a missing side. The missing base, we don't know what it equals yet. We'd have to do some challenging stuff to figure out that height, okay? We could do it. We'll come back to it. That's the goal, okay? But let's go to the back so we actually cover this all today. Area of a regular polygon, okay? Now, this is going to use one of those new vocab words from the front page, okay? So, for A equals 1/2 AP or AP over 2. Now, notice the capitalization and the lowercase, okay? 1/2 little a, big P, or little a, big P over 2, right? So, we're going to do something real quick here. Oh, I don't want to spell that wrong. All right, y'all know what this is? How do you say that? Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at that face. Now look at that face. Now look at that face. And look at that face. All right, now that's some of the face y'all make when I give you work, but it's all right. I'm still here for you. And if you're not doing that writing assignment, that's the face I'm making, so do your writing assignment. So that is called an opossum, okay? But some people, and it's totally fine, but some people have a lisp when they talk. So let's pretend like we have a lisp. If I were to say opossum with a lisp, it would be opothum. And guess what? That's our new vocab word that you wrote on the front of this packet. Did you remember that? Let's go back in time here. Okay? Opothum. Okay? So it has nothing to do with the nocturnal animal that we were just looking at. Opothum is a what? It's the distance from the center of a polygon to the middle edge. It bisects the edge. That means it's at the midpoint of one of the sides. Okay, so with all that in mind, let's go back over here. So I will remind you at the top. Little a means opothum. And if you look at this little picture right here, from the center to the midpoint, that's called little a, opothum. Okay? Now, I'm going to do this in blue. A lot of people get mixed up with this. What is this called? So this is going to be kind of weird. I know this is not a circle, but if it goes to a vertex, then that's called a radius. Okay, so does everyone see the difference between a opothum and a radius? Opothum goes to a midpoint, radius goes to a corner, a vertex. Okay? So our formula for a regular polygon is 1/2 opothum times big P, which is perimeter. Okay? So big P is perimeter. Okay, write that down real quick, and we are going to try some of these. They're not that hard if you know what you're talking about, and we do now, right? So, real quick, 13. Little a is 9. Now P, I need to find the perimeter. I know one side is 4, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 4 times 6 is 24. Okay, now I'm going to write that down right here. I just figured out the perimeter is 24. Does everyone agree? 4 times 6, 24. So now all I have to do is multiply the opothum times the perimeter, right? So area, big A, equals little a, 9, times P, perimeter, 24, divided by 2. All right, what is 9 times 24 divided by 2? $108. Now, there's supposed to be units, and the units will be squared for area, and the units will not be squared for perimeter, okay? All right, let's go over here to number 14. My side length is 6, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? Now, 13, 14, 15 are all 6-sided. I'm telling you, they're not always 6-sided, so don't get in the habit of that, okay? But on this one, I have for perimeter 6 times 6, which is 36. Right? 6 times 6, 36. That's an equal sign right there. Sorry. All right, so now I'm going to do area is opothum, which is 10, times the perimeter, 36, divided by 2. And that gives me, this was 108, sorry. That gives me what? 180? Huh? 162? You sure? 10 times 36 divided by 2 is 180. All right, thank you very much, 180. So I want you to try 15 and 16. Okay. We're going to put another asterisk on 17. We'll come to this later. But I want you to try 15 and 16. I'm going to give you a couple minutes right now. You can do it. The exact same way we just did. Notice, but be careful on 16. How many sides are on number 16? Hopefully you don't tell me it's 6. All right, so give you 2 minutes. Give it a shot. Alright, so the answers we have. So again, 8 times 6, 48, right? And then our area is little a, apothem, 6.93, times perimeter, 48, divided by 2. So let's do that. 6.93 times 48 divided by 2. 166.32. And again, that should be units squared, but we don't got any units. It is what it is, okay? So, over here, notice, I only have 5 sides, so the perimeter is 7 times 5, which is 35. So once again, area equals apothem, 4.82, times 35 divided by 2. So again, to the calculator, 4.82 times 35 divided by 2 gives us 84.35. And again, that would be units squared. So we did say a little while ago we're going to hold off on 17. Our goal is to come back to it. But it is a challenging problem because guess what? We are missing the apothem, but we can get that later. So that concludes the notes for today. We're going to do an assignment on this tomorrow, so please hold on to this.